Hi everyone, my name is Sierra Jenny, and this is my Educated Citizen portfolio for the BSN program. The public issue that I decided on was postpartum in Nebraska. I chose this topic because I feel it is a major public health concern that is often minimized and stigmatized due to the lack of education. I wanted to dive deeper into this issue to see how I can be helpful as an educated citizen. I do have a personal connection to this issue because I want to specialize in maternal health as a professional nurse. I would like to educate individuals on how to recognize and treat postpartum depression, and I also want to educate mothers and loved ones on the prevention, on the progression of postpartum depression. When I was younger, I had an aunt who did unfortunately commit suicide. As a young teenager, I was surrounded by people with many different emotions. Many of my family members were angry and thought my aunt was selfish. Some of my family members were left with empty hearts, bothered with the unanswered why question, and then blaming themselves for not knowing what happened and what they could have done. In my mother, baby, and mental health class, I learned about the symptoms of depression. An individual may have feelings of emptiness, fatigue, not wanting to participate in activities they enjoy, and to start to isolate themselves. My family has had many conversations about myself and other family members that have dealt with depression. I've expressed to my family members that there are people who are hurting internally that only express happiness to others externally. I also educated them on the signs of people who are depressed and how to communicate with them instead of pulling the blame card. Depression is a topic that nobody really likes to talk about, and some believe it is not real. I have had people tell me that everyone gets sad sometimes and that they will just get over it. Depression is an illness that cannot just be brushed over lightly. I did learn throughout nursing school that being an effective communicator means to take what you know to help educate others. In this particular instance, I took what I learned in my nursing classes to understand depression and express what I learned to help my loved ones gain the knowledge of this illness. I think it is very important to help be able to educate individuals as a future nurse to my best of my ability. In today's world, depression is a very real common illness. I think in this situation, I can use what I learned about being an effective communicator by picking up on nonverbal and verbal cues. I can share my knowledge on postpartum depression and shed light on just how common it is in Nebraska. Postpartum depression is not only affects the mothers, but everyone around them. I sat down with my family and opened up about the experiences and what I have all learned about postpartum depression and depression in general. In the first semester of nursing school, I had the choice to take Spanish class or American Sign Language class. I decided to take a step out of my comfort zone and take the sign language course. In this course, we had the requirement of attending a deaf event and to use our sign language skills that we were learning to communicate with others. I decided to go to a hockey game, and I was amazed to say the least. I got really nervous when I saw everyone signing to one another because of how fast it was. I knew I was a newbie to sign language, and I did not want to make a fool out of myself and sign something wrong. Everyone I had a conversation with was very understanding and excited to know that I had an interest in learning ALS. I loved to see how happy the community was to see future nurses trying to get their best to communicate. I got the opportunity to be an effective communicator by using this American Sign Language, and I was excited to be able to communicate with others without using English. As a future nurse, I'm going to be expected to communicate with non-English speaking patients. Going into nursing school, I never really thought about using other languages to communicate with my patients. I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to take what I learned in this class and be a part of the deaf community for just the evening. I believe communication is key in any trusting relationship, and to be an effective communicator in this instance is being able to take a situation and adapt to the circumstances. I'm going to be in many situations as a nurse where I need to be able to effectively communicate with my patient no matter what language they speak. In nursing school, we learn nonverbal communication is just as important as verbal communication. I can take what I learned about being an effective communicator by figuring out how to properly educate my patients by adapting to their language. I'm going to have patients who are hard of hearing, who are going through postpartum depression or exhibiting signs of depression. I'm going to have serious conversations with my patients to care, assess, and educate them properly. Depending on where I end up being a nurse, there may be policies on what questions I have to ask regarding depression or postpartum depression, and which I'm going to have to communicate with my patients. And I had nursing at 240 labor delivery rotation, and to say it was amazing is an understatement. Every semester, more and more of my friends were telling me what kind of nursing they wanted to pursue after graduation, and I finally knew that postpartum labor delivery was calling my name. That semester had been rocky with the coronavirus restrictions and not learning in person. I had to keep reminding myself going into the healthcare field I need to be prepared for anything and everything. There were many times that semester I felt I was a reflective individual, which is a person who routinely engages in habits of inquiry that influence ways of thinkings and actions. We had final simulation that involved 5 people in my group, which was a labor nurse, a labor baby nurse, a postpartum baby nurse, and the charge nurse. I got the opportunity to be the charge nurse. Our patient was getting ready to deliver, and we had to make sure she was delivering her baby safely and efficiently. There was a moment where her blood pressure was tanking, and we tried repositioning her, and she also had a boggy uterus, and so that way I recommended medications and to call the doctor. I know it was important to share my ideas to prevent the mom from hemorrhaging, and I thought of everything I could in a timely manner. It's important to not miss a step in an assessment of a patient and to not think of everything we learned that could potentially happen. It can be frustrating if you come up with an idea like a massage of the uterus or take the patient to the bathroom to empty her bladder, since she did have a body uterus and it does not work. Not everything that we were learning in class is going to correlate with what is happening. Once we tried everything, I said that we needed to call the doctor and use the SBAR method, which is situation background assessment and recommendation for the patient. From this experience, I realized how I was evolving into a stronger, reflective individual. I used critical thinking, and I used what I learned in class in a very nerve-wracking situation. I learned in this simulation that anything can happen to your patient, and it can happen very fast. It is important to take the time to properly care for your patient in a timely manner. I took the time as a reflective individual to assess what happened in the situation and what needs to be done as a team to help our patient. I also learned that the patient may not tell the nurse everything that is going on with them. It is important to build rapport with the patient to be able to talk and assess the postpartum depression patients to be able to point out the masked symptoms. It can be difficult to care for the patients when you do not know everything that is going on with them, and that is why being honest and caring with your patients will assist them to be able to be open with me as their nurse. When I got the acceptance letter from Nebraska Methodist College of Nursing, I was excited but also very nervous. I know that I struggle with so much anxiety, and I was scared that I did not have what it took to be a maternal health nurse. I always thought I had to get really good grades to be a good nurse, and I had to know every medication, all the side effects, what was going on with my patient, are they in the hospital, and I knew it was going to be very time consuming, and I had to give it all I had. I realized being the nurse that I wanted to be was so much more than that. I have put so much into my career over these past 4 years at Methodist. There has been many tears and many times where I doubted myself, to say the least. During this public issue project and reading my whole entire capstone, I realized how extremely proud I am of myself. I have gone through so much change and so many obstacles. I have learned so much and know that my learning is just as important as how I communicate and care for my patients and build those connections with them. I know I will put everything I have into caring for each of my patients and providing the best quality care that they deserve. I learn something new every day, and I will continue to learn something new as the healthcare field is always evolving. I learned over these past 4 years of nursing school that it has really made me into a stronger, reflective individual, and I have continued to fill my brain with information each day to prepare myself for the future. Every day, I reflect on my day and evaluate what I could have done better. I have my strengths and I have my weaknesses, but I continue to work on myself each day. I know I'm not perfect and I can always do better. I have learned so much about my public issue, and I will continue to keep obtaining information to be able to work in the maternal health field and care for postpartum mothers who are going through depression or have experienced it. I will always reflect on my own beliefs and research to make sure I'm providing my patients with the correct information and care. I was part of a teen center project for my research project one semester, and my client's major area of concern was how to manage money and get assistance. I know that she also wanted resources to help assist her with daily necessities like counselors and pantries. My client was a young single mother of 2 girls who were below the age of 10. she had to drop out of school due to having a low income and was not able to provide for her girls. She had a job at Dollar General and was working hard every day to be able to provide for her family. My goal was to provide her with resources that would benefit her with her everyday living. As a future nurse, I want to be able to help in any and every way I can. The first thing I would like to do is provide new mothers and single mothers advice and just be there for them in general at no cost. Since I want to be a mother, baby, and labor delivery nurse to be my specialty, I feel it's a good way to be able to give back to my community I care for. I would also like to provide resources to my patients when I become a nurse so that they are more aware of what is available to them and what they can utilize in their everyday lives. By engaging in this teen research project, it has made me grow as a change agent by opening my eyes and seeing a lot of people do and also want and need help. They just don't know how to get there. I learned that being a change agent means taking your own thoughts and understanding them and educating yourself to help inform and care others. I have my opinions on postpartum depression and I know how I feel about the issue. There's a lot of lack of knowledge, resources, education in Nebraska, and I would love to change that. I continue to be a change agent by opening up and being a listening ear to my patients who are struggling with postpartum depression. I want to provide my patients with information and resources who are seeking assistance, and I plan to be the change agent and create or assist in building a home resource for postpartum mothers to prevent postpartum depression. In my last semester of nursing school, currently my capstone class that I'm in now, I chose to take on the challenge of researching and educate my peers on postpartum mothers in Nebraska. I put a lot of thought and time into this project, and I'm glad I did. I decided on this issue because of my personal connections and to be able to educate others and shed light on how common and serious it is. Postpartum depression affects mothers, children, and loved ones. I learned this issue has many fatal cases that could have been prevented. I've gained many aspects as a change agent, and I took everything I learned in research on postpartum depression and provided all that I know to my peers to inform them on this issue. I think providing resources and education to individuals in Nebraska can decrease the fatal cases and help more families through this issue. I do believe I'm a strong change agent, but I do not think I will ever be fully a developed change agent. I think I can always develop more aspects and educate myself more to continue becoming a stronger change agent. I can use what I learned on postpartum depression to continue to build as a change agent and address my public issue. I was surprised by all the knowledge I had gained on this issue, and I'm eager to share this information with my peers and my patients as a future nurse. If I want change in this world, I have to be the best change agent I can and educate social media and provide resources on postpartum depression. Every semester, course, instructor, classmates, grades, obstacles, and changes I have gone through these past 4 years at Methodist have made such an impact in my life in some way. I have become such a different person from when I walked through those doors of Methodist College, and I have qualities of becoming a strong, educated citizen, which includes being an effective communicator, a reflective individual, and a change agent. I've gained so much knowledge and skills over my time at Methodist, and that I will use in my future nursing career. I am so very blessed to be able to look back and be happy with every decision and situation that has affected me. I'm grateful that when I was just a little girl, I decided that I was going to be a nurse. These past 4 years have made me into a better student, friend, daughter, future nurse, and person overall. I will take this positive and negative experiences I have had to be the best nurse I can be. I'm thankful I chose Methodist to build me into the nurse and person I have always dreamed of being. I'm confident in saying that these last 4 years at Methodist has prepared me to be the compassionate, caring, and holistic nurse by embodying the aspects of being an educated citizen.